To bring you the greeting of the Christendom class of 2013 is its Salutatorian, Nicole Koopman.
Friends and family of the class of 2013, welcome. Although I don't recognize every face here today, it is a great pleasure to be able to speak to you on this joyous occasion. To my fellow graduates, congratulations. In honor of our beloved chaplain from freshman year, Father Guy, I'll try and keep my speech as brief as possible. During our time at Christendom, we witnessed the passing of our founder, Dr. Warren Carroll, and celebrated the 35th anniversary of our school's founding. We forged friendships and benefited from the wisdom of our professors, who instilled in us a sense of wonder. We traveled around the world with our classmates, competing with each other and spotting the most yellow cars, church hopping, and Nutella weightlifting competitions. We even discovered what kind of diesel will keep us running when a deadline looms ahead. Since the time we left the security of our homes to set foot on Christendom's campus, the landscape of the world has changed dramatically, with Arab revolutions in the Middle East, the economic decline of Europe, and, on our own front, the passing of the HHS mandate, which threatens our religious liberty. In this year alone, which by no coincidence is the year of faith, we have witnessed the heroic humility of Benedict XVI in relinquishing the papacy, while the period of sede vacante gave the faithful the opportunity to trust Christ to steer the church through uncertain waters. The election of Pope Francis ushered in a period of rejoicing, and through his serene simplicity, he illustrates how to live out the faith in a radical way, a way close to the teachings of his namesake, Francis of Assisi, who is renowned for acting in imitatio Christi. Like Benedict XVI and Pope Francis, we too are called to share the fruits of our contemplation, especially fitting in this year of faith, and the call to live out our friendship with Christ with those in the world. Indeed, we have already done so, both through outreach, such as the outstanding leadership of Sarah and Chris in Shield of Roses, or even through the testimony of the men's soccer team singing Non Nobis Domine after a game. We have also shared our gifts and talents with those in our community by stepping up to guide numerous campus organizations, everything from SAC to choir and theater to the Debate Society, a group dedicated to pursuing truth for all who wish to sharpen their intellect and rhetorical skills. Our class is indeed shown in various leadership roles, and I enjoin my classmates to continue to follow the example of our former Pope, Benedict XVI, who leads the church through his profound humility. As can be seen from the way the senior class stepped in with gusto to make the most of our time here, Christendom has shaped us in such a way that we are poised to pursue any dream with energy and enthusiasm. I'm reminded of a scene from the movie The Dead Poets Society. Don't watch that movie, Dr. Stanford. Where the teacher instructs his students to follow the words of Thoreau and, quote, suck the marrow out of life. In a sense, this typifies the experience of many of my classmates who were unafraid of tackling the rich intellectual, spiritual, and communal aspects of Christendom. Indeed, I hope that as we embark upon our journey into the world, we will never be afraid to embrace all that life has to offer. While Christendom does indeed prepare its students for pursuing intellectual studies, it certainly has also supplied us with the tools to flourish in whatever occupation we choose to pursue. Just as a warrior undergoes vigorous intellectual training before battle, so too does Christendom provide valuable training before entering the fray. It is all too easy, however, to succumb to the temptation of thinking the world a cold and dreary place, like something out of a Dickens novel, in which we must merely eke out a miserable existence amid persecution. However, we need only remember Stephen Wood's smile or hear Alexis's laugh to know that being Catholic does not mean being a sour-faced saint. Indeed, We must never lose this sense of joy and wonder in which we dare to suck the marrow out of life. I would like to close by echoing the words of Pope Francis from a recent papal audience. To you, who are at the beginning of life's path, I ask, have you thought of the talents that God has given you? Have you thought of how to put them at the service of others? Don't take your talents away. Bet on great ideals, those ideals that enlarge our hearts, those ideals of service that make your talents fruitful. We were not given life so that we might hold it back jealously for ourselves, but it was given to us so that we might offer it. Dear young persons, you have great souls. Don't be afraid to dream of great things. May we, the class of 2013, never fear of sharing in the joy of Christ's cross. Thank you.
To offer the farewell meditation of the class of 2013 is its valedictorian, Sarah Halber.
Class of 2013. 4 years ago, we came to Christendom College as strangers, and now we graduate as friends. We have shared innumerable experiences together, both in the classroom and outside of it. We have recognized how much we do not know, and our wonder has led us in the pursuit of wisdom. We have learned from the history of those who've gone before us what has shaped the world as we know it today. Reading the works of brilliant minds has taught us an application of our learning, and gaining fluidity in other tongues allows us even to pursue works of other nations. We know the tools to build good society and government in theory, and in actuality, our deepened understanding of and love for God and His truth have impressed in us a greater desire for the beauty and happiness of heaven. We have not, however, been equipped with these treasures of the liberal arts only for ourselves. We are called to share them with the world. Pope John Paul II, the Holy Father of the youth, the Holy Father who is leading the church when we graduates were born, encourages us to reach outside of ourselves with a spirit of service. He says, service is possible for everyone through gestures that seem small, but which are in reality great if they are animated by a sincere love. John Paul II truly lived a sincere love throughout his life. As a young man who loved acting, playing sports, and being outside, as a seminarian during World War II, and as Holy Father. For the class of 2013, our time at Christendom has not only been a time of intellectual and academic growth, it has also taught us how to love more deeply, in the spirit of Pope John Paul II. We have learned to love each other while growing friendships through thick and thin. We have learned to love our professors as they have stretched us through thick and thin. Caring for the ill, orphaned, and impoverished during spring break mission trips has expanded our capacity to love those whom the world considers worthless. And in the process of it all, we have learned how to love God with a greater maturity, a greater fidelity, and greater trust. John Paul II tells us, "Dear young people, today more than ever, the world needs your cheerfulness and your service, your clean life and your work, your courage and your self-giving. The world has need of us, my friends, but the only way that we can rise to the Holy Father's challenge is to remain strong in the faith. After we leave here, we will be tempted to grow lax in our practice of prayer and the sacraments because it will not be as convenient as it has been here. Furthermore, the pull of the secular culture will be strong, and the only way to engage the world without being seduced by it is to remain close to Christ. Pursue him actively. Ask him to pursue you. He will bring us a peace and joy that the world does not know, but needs to know through us. When many of us studied in Rome during our junior year, we grew to know and love Pope Benedict XVI, and he grew to know and love us a little bit too, from our Christendom banner and the Amamus Te, which we shouted so enthusiastically, and for some of us, even by our singing for him at a papal audience. His message to us is timeless. He says, "Let yourselves be drawn to Christ." Think of the gifts you have received from God so that you can pass them on to others in turn. The gifts of our class have been manifested again and again over the past 4 years. On the sports field, on the stage, in the choir, in the debate society, on SAC, through taking on positions of leadership. The list could go on and on. But let us not forget the gifts of virtue that are often shown more quietly, but should be no less evident, as John Paul II, Benedict XVI, and our new Pope Francis have taught us so well. One of the great gifts that John Paul II gave was the sacrifice of bearing his suffering with love until the end. Benedict XVI has given us, both in his pontificate and in his resignation, the great model of discerning God's will and following it with humility. And our new Pope Francis, under whose pontificate we graduate today, shows us how to embrace every person and every opportunity, great or small, as a means to love Christ more. He exhorts us, "Dear young people, do not bury your talents, the gifts that God has given you. Do not be afraid to dream of great things." Indeed, my friends, God has gifted us, and both our parents and Christendom have helped equip us not only to dream of great things, but also to do great things. Let us go out and consecrate every vocation to Christ. Whether we become doctors, nurses, teachers, lawyers, businessmen, servicemen, priests, religious, spouses, fathers, or mothers, we must bring Christ with us. Let us inspire others by our ability to have fun in a manner worthy of being Christian, by our understanding that suffering has meaning, by our faith when we are challenged, our hope when we face discouragement, and our love when we are met with adversity. At this moment, I would like to offer a small tribute to someone who is a living testament of this kind of faith, hope, and love. 10 years ago, another student stood at this podium to give the valedictory address for his class. 2 years ago, this same student, whom we have come to know and love as a professor at Christendom, could not be at the graduation ceremony because he was in the hospital battling cancer. Because of his incredible faith and fighting spirit, however, Dr. Brendan McGuire is not only in remission, but he is also back teaching at Christendom full-time. Dr. McGuire, I know that I speak for the entire class of 2013 when I say that you are a blessing and an inspiration, and we are incredibly grateful that you are here with us today. My dear friends, never forget that we are on this journey together. Even though we will miss each other greatly when we leave, there is no distance between tabernacles, so we will see each other in the Eucharist. I love you all, and I'm so proud to be a member of the Christendom class of 2013. Viva Cristo Rey! Viva!